on during the campaign, now putting them into action and saying on day one, once he's inaugurated, these are the things that he's going to focus on.
Ali Vitale, I know you're still in Delaware. I know you're going to be there for a while, but we got you guys out of that parking lot. That's fantastic news.
It really is. Thank you for that.
Great to see you. Here's NBC News correspondent Carol Lee with the latest from the White House.
President Trump is still defiant, saying that he plans to continue to fight these election results. His legal team has filed multiple lawsuits in multiple states with potentially additional ones to come. We know that the president and his team are considering holding so-called recount rallies, which essentially would be the president or some of his closest allies, potentially his children, Don Jr. or Eric Trump, headlining campaign-style rallies in battleground states where there are recounts ongoing. We also know that the president is planning to send staff to some of these states that are having recounts. Georgia, for instance, the campaign announced that they would have a team there and that they are going to name specific individuals who would be overseeing those sorts of efforts. So a multi-front battle, basically a messaging battle, as well as a legal battle. And we, haven't seen the president much since election night as all of this is unfolding. We heard from him on Thursday night in person at the White House in the briefing room. But since then, we've only seen images of him on the golf course over the weekend. And we know that the president is, however, very active on Twitter. We heard from him just moments ago saying, again, unsubstantiated, that somehow these election results are nefarious and there was some sort of fraud. Meanwhile, we're told from the president's allies that there are no plans for him to concede anytime soon.
The Senate back at work today. So far, just 3 sitting Republican senators have congratulated Joe Biden on his victory: Mitt Romney, Lisa Murkowski, and Susan Collins, while Senators Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz continue to back the president.
He wants to fight, and he should fight. And I would encourage President Trump, if after all this he does fall short, we just can't quite get there, to not let this movement die, to consider running again.
The media is desperately trying to get everyone to coronate Joe Biden as the next president. But that's not how it works. The media does not get to select our president. The American people get to elect our president. And at this point, we've got numerous states that are very closely and vigorously contested.
NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Leanne Caldwell joining me now. Leanne, in the last hour, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell made his first public comments since Joe Biden was elected president. What did he say?
Hey, Allison, he did. This was a speech from Senator McConnell on the Senate floor that we've all been anticipating, as he's refused to answer a lot of questions about what's happening with the election, the fact that there is a vice president-elect, Joe Biden. So Senator McConnell went to the Senate floor and he gave a pretty lengthy remarks about this, where it seems like he is on the side of the president, saying that he has the right to go through with these legal challenges. Let's listen to his own words.
Obviously, no states have yet certified their election results. We have at least 1 or 2 states that are already on track for a recount. And I believe the president may have legal challenges underway in at least 5 states. The core principle here is not complicated. In the United States of America, all legal ballots must be counted. Any illegal ballots must not be counted. The process should be transparent or observable by all sides, and the courts are here to work through concerns. Our institutions are actually built for this. We have the system in place to consider concerns, and President Trump is 100% within his rights to look into allegations of irregularities and weigh his legal options. The projections and commentary of the press do not get veto power over the legal rights of any citizen, including the President of the United States.
So McConnell seems to be giving the president some cover here. McConnell also knows that he has two Senate races that are going to a runoff in January, where Republican voters are going to be paying very close attention to how Republicans deal with this. So, you know, one other thing I want to say, though, Allison, is it also it prolongs the coordination between the president and the Senate leadership. I remember 4 years ago, after the president became president-elect, within several days, he was on Capitol Hill meeting with McConnell, making the rounds on Capitol Hill. It was his first time here, and that is something that we have been given no indication is going to happen yet between President-elect Joe Biden and Republican leadership here. As far as we can tell, there's been no contact between the two either, Allison.
Leanne, I want to talk more about the GOP in a moment, but let's talk about the Democrats for a second. After we heard from Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, then we heard from Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. What was his response?
Well, Senator Schumer said something that Senator McConnell did not say. He said that Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States. He called him President-elect Joe Biden. Let's listen to what Schumer said on the Senate floor moments ago.
Former Vice President Joseph Robinette Biden will become the 46th President of the United States. Our dear colleague, the distinguished Senator from California, Kamala Harris, will be the next Vice President of the United States. And on January 20th, the country will finally turn the page on one of the most divisive and chaotic chapters in our history.
That is obviously a relationship that Democratic leader Chuck Schumer is looking very forward to, the fact that there is a Democrat in the White House and that it will be the former Vice President Joe Biden. Allison.
All right, so Leanne, let's get back to the Republicans. With McConnell sticking by the president there, do you expect the rest of the Republican senators to fall in line with him, or at the very least just say nothing?
Well, we've heard from 3 senators so far that have congratulated Vice President Biden on his apparent win in the election. Then you played in the intro the senators who are fighting back, or telling the president to fight back. As far as the rest goes, they've been pretty silent for the most part. Senate is back in session today. We are going to be asking them these questions once they arrive in just the next few minutes for their first vote after the election. But, you know, the Trump supporters have put Republicans on notice that they are watching where they come down on this. So it's not only going to matter, you know, it all comes back to elections, Allison, unfortunately, up here on Capitol Hill. It depends on what sort of situation senators are in. If they just won their reelection, they might be a lot more, you know, open to congratulating the vice president, since they don't have to face constituents for another 6 years. But if you're planning a run for president in 2024, or you up for your reelection in 2022, you have a very hard decision to make, perhaps, Allison.
Leanne, you mentioned elections at hand, and you also mentioned earlier the runoffs in Georgia, so let's get into that for a moment. I mean, the Senate will ultimately come down to those runoffs in Georgia in January. We know Democrats now have the House majority, but it's a slimmer majority. How's the GOP feeling about its standing in both the House and the Senate? Are they feeling energized and confident?
Well, they were following the same polls that everyone else was following, not only the public polls, but internal polls as well. And the results were a surprise to everyone, Democrats and Republicans for the most part. Hardly anyone thought that Republicans were going to do so well. So House Republicans are thrilled. Yes, they are going to be in the minority still, but it's going to be a very slim minority, giving Republicans some negotiating power. As far